just a quick introduction, the table of contents. So we're just going to have an introduction, some financial records, production records, conclusion, and discussion. So general record keeping, according to Merriam-Webster, it's the act or practice of taking notes of important information for future reference, which is, for example, you can have a record of your farm activities on a day-to-day basis, inventory, production records, and financial records. Of course, you can keep other records apart from those, but this is just an example. Of course, record keeping is very beneficial to a business generally, or any type of organization. Wherever you go, especially like in the ministry and such, you always have to keep a file of different things. And it's for different benefits. You have the ability to predict certain outcomes based on the history that you have established from the records. And from that, you can make informed decisions from data-driven information. And that will now help to enhance the efficiency and the productivity of your business and organization. And it also lends to accountability. So, for instance, organizations might ask for some records of what you might have done before, whether it's financial records or production records. So you can be able to present that, and that will help secure whichever thing that is necessary. And once you talk about the good, there's also the bad. So when you don't have proper record keeping, that can lead to poor planning. You cannot make the proper decisions. I know a lot of farmers don't keep records. It's one of the problems that we have generally, especially in Grenada and around the globe as such. But the more commercial farms and the more farms that are, let's say, business-oriented, they make it a point to keep records. Without records, you lead to mismanagement of the farm inputs and the farm finances. So for instance, if you have a record of fertilizer you used previously, and you can say, well, that fertilizer gave me that type of result, okay, in the future, this is what I'll need to do moving forward. And it's the same for the finances. In one sense, you might buy 50 bags of fertilizer, and then for that year, you only lose 20 bags. So for the next year, it's not necessary to buy so much, especially in terms of what you're looking to produce. So in terms of financial records, you look at the income. And of course, income is a record of monies received from the sale of farm products. And there you'd want to keep a record of the date, items sold, the quantity, right? That can be in pounds or whichever way you want to have it. The price per unit. You would also want to record the client. And then from that, you can get your daily income, and your daily income can feed into your weekly and your monthly and annually. So here we have a short example. I use nutmeg in that sense due to its fixed price and everything like that. And that can help you determine what you need to do. So you can see you have your date, you have your client, items sold, the quantity, the price, and then your daily income feeds into your weekly income, monthly income, and annually. And that can help you make decisions moving forward. And then you also have the farm expenditure, which is a record of all money spent for the inputs on the farm. And then again, you also want to record the date, clientele, or the source of the item, the quantity, and the price as well. So here you can, for instance, you have planting material. You might get some planting material from the Ministry of Agriculture. You can see how much of that you get, and the price, and that total. Also, you can have your utilities. So let's say you're using some water from Nawasa, so persons might be getting from the ocean, from the rivers and everything like that. Animal feed, and you want to record all that. Depreciation is something that you can calculate based on your machinery and tools and stuff like that, so you can keep a value of those items on the farm. In terms of budgeting, so a budget can be defined as a financial outline of expected income and expenditure over a specific period of time. Now, this will help you to make decisions or manage your finances in keeping track of how much money is spent, how much money comes in, and so forth. So here we have a small example of what you might do for a complete budget. So you predict that, okay, I'll be selling some tubers and sweet potatoes, right, maybe about 1,000 pounds or so. Sell it $150 a pound, and then of course you get a total of $1,500 there. Then you want to list out as much of the estimated expenditure that you might have. Now I have a few here, but of course this list is not exhaustive. Now when making a budget, the idea is to budget for high expenses and low income while securing a profit. Now this will help you to, as I say, secure a profit in terms of most likely you might not sell, let's say you might not sell it for $150 a pound, you might sell it $2. I think the price on the market now is about $4 or so. But you want to have low income predictions so that you can secure that you will get a certain amount of money. There in the expenditure, you list out the different things you might spend on. You can put the quantities there. If you look at the example that you have, there's a calculation that you can use to determine those different things. And of course, your profit is determined by income taking away the expenditure, and you get your profit there. Now, in terms of production records, you also want to have production input. So that is basically a record of everything that comes into the farm, right? So for instance, in that as well, you always want to keep a track of the date. For all of the records, you'll see that the date is there. You always want to keep a track of the date of when things come in, when things go out, and so on. So just a few examples here. You have your planting materials. So let's say sweet potato. You have several different varieties. You want to keep a record of the varieties that you're there. You keep a record of how much you got. You can put a value for it. So whether or not you get it free. So you can see here I have it's valued at $25, but you get it from the MOA. The sweet potato chips was received from attending a workshop at no cost. So although you have the value there, you didn't actually spend that money. And that money can be used for something else. And you also want to have a follow-up. As I said, record keeping can help you to do predictive. It helps you to have predictive ability and helps you do informed planning. So you can always have a follow-up. And then you, for instance, you fertilize how much bags. You get 10 bags. In your comment, you can have the distribution of the different bags to urea, to MAP, etc. And of course, you follow up. You already have the planting material. So for your follow-up, you can say you apply MAP. As Mr. Charles mentioned, you can do the MAP within the planting time of the sweet potato and such. And so you have that in your follow-up plans and everything. In terms of production output, you would want to record everything that goes out. Now, in my example, I have sweet potato as the output there. You can have the item, of course, you secure the date. You can put the variety of whichever that you have there, the quantity, the value. And you can have a comment on observation, how much of the field that was harvested or such. And then your follow-up will be grading and packaging who you might be selling it to for. Now, Food Hours is not a place in Grenada, so you don't go looking for that, right? That's in my imagination itself. And then, you follow up that with your second harvest. Now, those dates are arbitrary, but what I want you to pay attention to in terms of your comment on observation, although you did 25% of the field in both situations, you notice that you got a lot less, and that could have been due to pest damage. So your follow-up can be that. Your follow-up can also be to contact pest and disease management also, or contact your extension officer to assist you in identifying the pest or how to go about treating that pest or such. Now, the day-to-day activities, in my opinion, and generally one of the most important things that you can record. Now, you can know what was done, when it was done. The observation can be climatic conditions, the soil conditions, or whatsoever. And these things will help you to determine what may happen in the future and also what has happened in the past. So you can also record the temperature, record whether rain fell that night, rain is falling while you're doing that activity also. pest and disease management. So you should also keep a record of all pests and diseases that appear on your farm. So this is just an example again of how you can detail that. You want to keep a record of the date, the type of damage that happens on the crop, also the causal agent, treatment, dosage, observation, and follow-up. Of course, for the follow-up, I have here, you can contact the MOA, Pest and Disease Management, regular monitoring, and such. So just to wrap up, while I'm doing the pest and disease record keeping, what you want to do, you also want, it's adamant that you record the date of the identification. So the time you go to the farm, when you identify the damage and such, the type of damage on the crop, causal agent, identification of the causal agent, treatment options, so whether you go cultural, biological, or chemical. And if you go the chemical route, you would want to keep track of the dosage that you apply. Of course, we know that the concentration of these chemicals in the environment and in the soil and so can be of a concern, especially if you don't go the route of applying some of those biochemicals that Mr. Charles and Mr. Augustine had alluded to earlier in the day. And of course, you'll have to keep on monitoring the developments. Some of those things will stay in the soil for multiple years. So you want to keep that track of that information. And establish preventative methods moving forward, where we all should be aware of the IPM, which is Integrated Pest Management. And that will include all three of those treatment options, cultural, biological, chemical, and so. All right, just to conclude, so establishing a record system can be vital to the overall success of the farm, which is a business, of course. And effective record keeping requires time and dedication. So it's not something that you can do just fleetingly, but it's something that you have to, feel the importance of, especially in managing a business, managing an organization, and so you have to keep track of events that take place. And effective record keeping can help in acquiring assistance from governments and other lending organizations. So usually they will be asking you about your records. So for instance, if you have to get some type of concession and so, that is something that they will ask for, especially your financial records, to know that they're not wasting time with giving the thing to somebody who is not organized and such. So one of the things that I can advise is to designate someone on your farm, whether it's a farm worker, family member also, who can do the record keeping for you. Of course, there are apps and so that can help with that. And technology goes a long way when it comes to that. So what you can do is to make it as convenient as possible. When you're out in the field, of course, when we're out in the field, it's difficult to do these kind of record keeping. So what you can have is a small notepad or so where you can just keep your drottings, and then you can transfer that information into something more formal, whether it's a computer or whether it's some type of notebook, also something that is hardy, something that can last long and can be organized in a certain way. Prepared documents. So you see I have different tables. So that can help you when you're ready to transfer that information. You have the different tables, you just can put them in very simply and very quickly. So at this point, if you have any questions or comments, if none, we can move forward. As I say, we're a little bit behind time. So there's one more thing that I have to present. All right, so everything is clear.